take a moment to thank everyone for supporting my channel. My YouTube channel truly would not be where it's at today without all of my supporters. And with that being said, let's get on down to today's lecture, which is join the military as a career choice. Join the military as a career choice. I'm here to tell you, especially if you are young or, in your 20s or even your early 30s. I joined the United States Marine Corps. During the Desert Storm era, I have an honorable discharge. I'm also service connected. So I get a pension from the military. I get a pension from state government. But I'm here to tell you, my military, with my military benefits and pension, let me break this thing down to you, rural. First of all, if you go in, I don't care if you do 4 years or 5 years or 10 years or whatever, but whatever amount of time you do under your contract and you are discharged and you're honorable discharge, there's still so many perks and benefits behind that. Around, or if you want to retire or you getting a pension, like I said, I'm service connected, so I get a military pension for the rest of my life in addition to all of my medical care, around as inpatient, outpatient, vision care, prescription, any kind of medical care in the rural, I would get through the VA for the rest of my life. So I don't even see a medical bill. There's so many other perks that comes along with that, in terms of a VA loan for housing. When I got out of the military, it paid for my first degree. So you're getting VA educational benefits, you're getting VA housing. You get the honorable discharge, you're getting medical for life. If you're depending on how much time you serve, you're going to get a pension for the rest of your life. If you're service connected, that's money, that's a check. So it's so much behind that. And then not only that, they're even paid if you're in the military active duty. Because when I got out of the military, that's when I went to school. But you can also, in the military, pay for all of my first degree. But they will also pay for you to go to school while you're active duty. So it don't matter what direction you want to go. And I'll tell any young person, you know, especially now, but with the way where the economy is and this, take you behind the military. I don't care if it's Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, Coast Guard. Join the military and do your first 4 years until you can figure it out. And if you don't want to do any more than that, at least you got that first 4 years under your belt. You got your honorable discharge, and you're still going to get a lot of benefits attached to that for the rest of your life. I would never see a medical bill ever in my life. Rather, I'm inpatient, outpatient, vision, dental, prescriptions. And I'm going to tell you something. Healthcare is a huge, huge issue for anybody at any age. I talk to a lot of people. There are people in their 20s and their 30s, in medical debt because they're working these jobs without adequate medical insurance. So now they got this big fat dental bill or this hospital bill, or they don't have adequate health care. So they're literally going in debt behind medical bills at a young age, people in their 20s, 20, 25 years old, 23 years old, 30 years old in medical debt, 40, 50, 60, $7,000 in medical debt because they had a medical emergency without having adequate insurance. My daughter is 32 years old in the United States Navy, been in the Navy now going on 10 years. She's done re-enlisted. Most likely she'll make a career out of it, but she's set for life. She get out or stay in, she's set for life in terms of all of the benefits that's going to come along with that. On top of people, you get to travel this real free. When I was in the United States Marine Corps during the Desert Storm era, I traveled. I met people from all over the world in that uniform on the military tab. And I'm telling you, it just makes you more grounded. You see life differently because you're traveling rural, you're seeing different cultures, you're seeing how different people live and etc. And yeah, you're going to have to still follow orders while you're in that uniform. Yeah, you're going to have to perform the essential functions of your job, people. Rather you corporate America, military, or even in your owning your own business, you're gonna have to abide by standards if you want to stay in business. So I tell anybody, you know, I'm fully retired, and I'm telling you that was the best decision I made in this world when I was a young woman. You know, coming up out of the projects, not really clear on what direction I wanted to take. When I saw as a young woman, I was at the mall, and I saw a woman Marine in uniform, and I was mesmerized by that uniform. Just you know, the way she wore it, the way she carried herself. All eyes were on her. Just it was just breathtaking. And it was something about that I knew I had to join the Marine Corps. And I did. I went in doing Desert Storm era, got my honorable discharge, and the rest is history. You know, the military paid for my first degree. I get I'm service connected. I get money for the rest of my life, benefits for the rest of my life. I don't see medical bills in retirement. Never have, never will. And with the experience that I went through during that era, played a direct impact on Marie Holiday being able to retire early at an early age over 2 years ago. Because I also get a pension from the state of North Carolina. I get a pension from the military. So I got a couple of pensions hitting me for the rest of my life. And when I get old enough, I get Social Security. But the decision I made as a young woman by joining the United States Marine Corps, and I did my time, I got my honorable discharge, it set the stage. Now I'm reaping all of those benefits on those decisions I made as a young woman in terms of a VA money for the rest of my life, medical for the rest of my life, that honorable discharge, and all of the perks that came along with it. By being a veteran with an honorable discharge, it literally paid for my first degree. I have a couple of master's degrees, but I went to school when I first got out of the military, and it paid for my first degree, zero debt, people. I don't have no student loans. I have no student loans in any shape, form, or fashion. I'm gonna get a military pension for the rest of my life, military medical benefits for the rest of my life. So the decision I made as a young woman has a direct impact on my life in the here and now in terms of my financial stability, my medical stability, right now, here, today, real talk. And I will be forever grateful to God for guiding my steps and guiding my decision at a young age, because I didn't know what I wanted to do. All I knew is I had to do something, and I made the right decision, and I wore that uniform with pride, and I got my honorable discharge, and the rest is history. So I tell anybody, I got many of my family members, many of my nieces and nephews who are serving in the military. My daughter is in the military. She's 32 years old, been in now going on 10 years. At such a young age, she's set for life. I tell anybody, and she's been all over this world, I tell anybody, if you are young, especially in this economy, join any branch of the military, even if you do one tour, a tour meaning 4 years. Try it out. If you don't like it, at least you will step away with an honorable discharge, and benefits will follow you for the rest of your life. That's all I have. Simplify, simple fidelis, and I'm going to leave you in the care of your own conscience. Have a great day.